Welcome to Just Minding My Business Media LLC. We sincerely hope that you are doing well and standing strong. How will you grow or start your business? Walt Disney is quoted to have said, "The way to get started is to quit talking and begin doing." Just Minding My Business Media is about the doing. Become known for your products or services on JMMB radio podcast, heard in over 200 countries. Or, if you're ready to take the leap, move to Mindset Movers TV as a host or series producer, broadcasting to the combined audience of Roku and Fire TV. Let's move in the right direction together. Contact us at jmmbradio@gmail.com. Everything that you are going through is preparing you for what you've asked for. Believe you can, and you're halfway there. Today, Just Minding My Business Media LLC is pleased to host authors of the soon-to-be-released anthology, Empowered to Win, Volume 3. Visionary author Allison G. and several women will share their stories about how, through faith, they challenged obstacles to ultimately win. We look forward to sharing with you conversations that will inspire you to also have a winning faith. Our first guest, Ladrine Howard Peterson, is the CEO of Delivering on Ideas and Thoughts and founder of Do It Empowers Incorporated. As a career business strategist and a certified Christian life coach, she specializes in turning dreamers into doers. Ladrine is the host of Let's Do It talk show and a #1 best-selling visionary author, as well as an international speaker and international MC. As a human resources guru, she is highly sought after and has achieved groundbreaking success in this field, both nationally and internationally. Welcome, Ladrine.
Yes, welcome.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. We are honored. So, tell us about the work that you do.
Absolutely. So, when the introduction of your show was being stated, and do it, do it, do. That's my motto. So my business, do it, delivering on ideas and thoughts. What I do in a nutshell, I help people to bring their dreams into fruition. So my main stance is career. So I've been in the industry for 30 years. So I started at 2. I know I don't look that age. Started at 2. But been in the field of human resources for 30 years and have taken all of the learning pieces that I have and apply it to others. And once I figured out the solution and I added a little bit more of my own ingredients, I figured I wanted to help other people. So that's my main stance. And then I have an MBA, that's my second master's. So it only made sense for me to all of the money that was spent on getting that MBA. I wanted everybody to get a piece of it. So that's where I stand. And then the last piece represents me as a child of God, as a Christian life coach.
All righty then. So, if people, when you talk about the work that you do with helping people to develop their dreams, what does that look like?
Oh, it looks like magic. It looks like magic because people are often reserved about the gifts that they have. They don't understand the talents. And even when you have someone that has mastered this and teach this to other people, they still don't see what other people see in them. My good gift and my assignment gets to be to help pull this out of people, help through probing questions, and help through different various scenarios to let them see what they have inside of them. So I talk to people about their dreams, and a lot of times someone will come to me as a career client, and we will get to talking. And once they see my website and the other services that I offer, or through the dialogue, they will begin to ask me and say, "Hey, I've been thinking about an idea." Right? I've been thinking of starting a business. I do this all the time, but I don't know how to actually officiate it as a business. That's what I do. So the magic comes from my clients and just being able to empower them. It gets me so excited because God has put a gift in everyone. We all have a purpose, we all have a gift, but sometimes it takes others a little bit longer to catch on to it. And we all know that God like embeds people all around us so that when we can't get that one-on-one message from God because we have too much noise going on per se, God will place people around us as that vessel so that that message gets to us. It's already in us. The whole entire chapter of Jeremiah already tells us that. So I get to play a part in people's lives of fulfilling their dreams and sometimes even helping them to realize and bring them into fruition.
All right. That is wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Because, I mean, sometimes we do get stuck. Sometimes we need help to see. And like you said, we can't always see what others see. I always say, when you look in the mirror, you can only see one side at a time. You can't see it all. And sometimes it can be just plain old fear, where people want to do things, but they're afraid. So having somebody to be able to support them along through love
Yes.
and caring, that's right there is going to loosen them up
Amen.
and help them to start to receive what God has already given them. So we definitely appreciate what you do because we all need that from time to time, for sure. So, your why. What made you become a part of this anthology, Empowered to Win?
So the timing, right? Timing is everything. So the timing and the space was just right for me. So many times we get caught up and we have busyness that's going on. So I've seen the Empowered to Win Volume 1 come out. I've supported it, purchased the book. But the timing wasn't right for me, right? Volume 2. I've seen Volume 2. They've been guests on my show. Timing was not right for me. It just so happened like unfortunate events turned into fortunate. So I've gone through a number of losses very close, my mom and my sister, very close within a 3-month period of time. And so during this time I was able to take off from work and cut back on my business. And so what that allowed me to do is sit in the face of God, and for his protection. There's never a way that we can pay God back, right? There's just no way. And so I know I can't pay him back, but I will be trying until the day that I leave this earthly side. So for me, the time and the space gave me yet another opportunity to give God some more grace, to give God some more grace. That's why the title is Gracefully Broken. Gracefully broken. It talks about me breaking, like my heart was broken. Like my mother, and my one sister, my one sibling, my sister, 3 months within a time frame. I had no other choice but to trust and believe in God. I had nothing else within me. And God comforted me like no way that I would have ever imagined in my life. So when we talk about Ephesians 3:20, you know how we read that? I experienced it. I experienced it. So the timing of this book was again yet another opportunity for me to give God some glory.
All righty now. Wow. At my condolences to you because I know that had to be really a horrific moment and something you're probably still processing and will continue to do so for some time. Because I know I lost my mother last year, and it's something to go through, because you only get one mom, um, and sometimes they can get on your nerves, but that's what moms do. But when you don't have them,
Yeah.
you don't, it's just a big chunk of you missing. So a condolences definitely coming out, and then losing your sister. So I know exactly what you're saying when you talk about all you have is God to get you
That's it.
through these moments. Because people can say, "Oh, I'm so sorry," but it's just not the same as when God puts His loving arms around you and help you to go through it.
Yeah, but I just have to say that um yes, heartbroken. Like my heart was I never felt that much pain in my life, right?
Mhm.
I was very it was the weakest moment ever experienced in my life. And it was in that very time that God comforted me and showed me so much grace that people thought that at any day I was going to lose it.
Mhm.
But I stand here like today, just trying to come up with the words to explain to people of how God comforted me. So, not going into the story, but my story talks about anxiety and going through therapy. I realized that I the hundreds of deaths that I've gone through. So I used to have to take off from work for death because it came over me and I felt so saddened by this. With my mom and my sister, God did a different thing because I probably would have lost my mind. And it was the anxiety. So the thing that was the key piece, and it is like the subline or the first introduction of my chapter. And it reads, is it possible for you to be fixed by the very thing that has broken you? So
Mhm.
they'll have to read the story, but it is the yes, it was the I will be crazy to say that it didn't hurt me, but I was gracefully broken. God's grace and what He did for me is a modern day miracle. It's a modern day miracle, and especially for someone who knows my
Okay.
history of losing it. And I was on watch at funerals because they know that the pain had intensely impacted me. Planning for my mother, planning for my sister, kid you not. And I write it in detail in another book. So this is my third book. And my mom passed away November 2020. And my sister, we're not even at her 1 year anniversary yet. And all I had in me was writing. So this is the third book, and I got two more that are coming up. All of them relate to God's grace. And then I know we have to move on, but the first one is we all grieve differently.
We
Stories
do.
of women who lost their mother, and they're talking about the details of that. And then the one I just came back was the follow up, and it's we all heal differently. So I'm that vessel to help people who have gone through death and dealing with it with that pain. When I tell my story and understanding God, it's a different story. It's a different story. It's a different story. So thank you so much for the opportunity. I just feel myself right now, but thank you so much for the opportunity.
It is okay, my dear Reverend.
Thank you
We
so much.
definitely thank you for sharing your testimonial, and we're
Mhm.
looking forward to more of you to
Amen.
learn about the different other things that you're participating in, and keep on motivating people and keep on doing it.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Okay. Our next guest is Pastor Valerie M. Howard Jones, who is a DC native and currently resides in Glendale, Maryland, and is the CEO of Pastor Val Ministries. Pastor Val is also the CEO of the Sister I've Been There Literary Group, which is a ministry birthed out of the title of the recently released book, Sister, I've Been There Too, but I Came Back to Get You, which is an anthology of testimonies written by 9 vastly different women and one man about just how good God really is. Welcome, Pastor Valerie.
Yeah, yes. Welcome, my dear.
Thank you so much, Abby. It's a blessing to be here. God bless you.
Yes, yes, indeed. We are looking forward to hearing more about what you do. So tell everybody a little bit about what you do.
What I do. I am a teacher, preacher, mentor, evangelist, writer. I love people. And my main objective in life is to help people to understand that they have a right to have a relationship with God for themselves. And that no matter what they came from, where they came from, God still loves them and they can be exactly who God says they are.
Hmm. Amen to that for sure, because a lot of times we're our worst enemy. We beat ourselves up.
Absolutely. I was my own worst enemy for years.
I think it's easy to slip back into that, at any given time. And it's one of those things where you have to constantly be conscious and intentional about what it is God have you to do.
Absolutely.
And you have to
Absolutely.
you have to take yourself out of the picture altogether.
Yeah.
So,
Not always easy to do, but yeah.
no, not at all. Not at all. So, your reason for Empowered to Win.
um, God gave me a gift to write, and the visionary author Allison is a very dear friend of mine. Like I've known her forever, but it's only been a few years. But when God put the relationship together, it's to seem that way. And when she gave me the vision that God gave her for Empowered to Win, um, much like Ladrine, I wasn't able to participate in the first one. The second one came around and I said yes. And I sat down and wrote my chapter in like an hour. And it was entitled, You Better Ask God About You. And then she came around with the third edition. And I said yes before I even thought about it. That's what God intended. And it's entitled Learning to Love the Gift That Is You.
Mm.
I was a foster child and I was out of 4 children and the only one my mother sent away. And life was very challenging for me because I grew up feeling like I wasn't good enough, I wasn't pretty, I wasn't intelligent, just a whole heap of things. I spent a lot of time trying to other people I should be. And that turned into a problem because I was always changing and I didn't know who I was. But one day I decided to have a relationship with God for myself. And that was the turning point for my life. And so, much like some of my other sister authors, the gift put those words on paper so that people can be set free, healed, and delivered. And um, all of the ministries that I participate in is founded upon Revelations 12:11. For they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and the word of their testimony, and they did not love their lives unto death. And so that's who I am, and that's why I write. I also have 4 other books, no anthology, but I also told Alice, as long as God is telling her to put out another edition, I got another story to tell, I'm sure.
Absolutely. We are going to have stories to tell for as long as we stay on this earth.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Absolutely.
So, the title again of your chapter in this book?
Learning to love the gift that is me. Um, it's really based on the fact that people see us differently. And a lot of times, especially in environment, I've been in ministry for almost 30 years. I've been, several pastors have mishandled, mistreated, the whole 9 yards. And, we don't always, especially as women in ministry, we don't always get to feel like the gifts that God has given us are true or real or important based on other people. And so you have to learn how to see the love that God has for you in you. You have to learn how to see that He didn't make no mistakes, even though one time I was praying and crying and praying and crying, and I told the Lord, what am I supposed to do? My mother didn't want me, my father didn't want me, and God says, you're near because I wanted you. You're here because I want you here. And so that was a turning point for my healing and understanding the love that God has for me, and that I am a gift to the body of Christ. And so that's why I am trying to do my part in sharing that with other people.
Wow. And what a testimonial, because so many people have that feeling.
Mhm.
And no matter how many times we as humans tell them, like Dream was saying, you can't see everything about yourself, and a lot of times, we definitely need that relationship with God in order for Him to reveal to us who we are, who He made us to be,
Mhm.
and help us to believe that this is what it is. This is what He wants for us. And that's a difficult thing for a lot of people,
Mhm.
for sure. So, Pastor Valerie, we are so
It is,
excited.
especially when you have those. I'm sorry.
Go
I didn't
right
mean to cut
ahead,
you
my
off. Go
dear.
ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was just getting ready to say that, especially when you have people that you trust telling you what you're not. A lot of
Mhm.
times in ministry, people are afraid of the other people that they're supposed to be leading. And if they're not comfortable with your gifts, or they're not comfortable with you superseding what they think their gifts are, they tend to downplay you. And therefore, people like me who grew up in, sort of a depressed mentality, you feel like God can possibly want me. God couldn't. But when you tap into that love of God, it is light at the end of a very, very dark tunnel.
Surely.
Yeah.
Hmm. Absolutely. Wow. We know that your chapter is definitely going to inspire somebody and help somebody to seek God.
Mhm.
And we're definitely looking forward to
Amen.
reading it.
Amen.
And
Mhm.
thank you so
Amen.
much for what you do, because your story and your testimony is some of so many, many people. And we're definitely looking
God
forward to
bless you. Thank you for
following.
having me.
Absolutely.
Welcome.
Okay. Um, wow.
Okay.
Okay.
Powerful
Powerful,
conversation.
powerful. All right, we got a shout out. My girl Tamala in the house. Good evening to you, Tamala. Thank you so much. She's gonna be so proud of me. I'm always getting her name correct now. So, who do we have next, Ruth?
Dr. Essie Mccoy, who is an award-winning educator, 6 times Amazon best-selling author, and host of the podcast, Dr. Essie Speaks Education. With multiple degrees and certifications in various aspects of education, she is well qualified to address the issues within the American education systems. Her dissertation, a study of elementary principles, perceptions of accountability and leadership in an era of high stakes testing, is a foundational part of her book, The Heart of School Transformation, My Journey into Transforming Urban Schools. Welcome, Dr. McCoy.
Yes.
Thank
Welcome.
you. Thank you so much. It is my honor to be here on your show this evening.
It is an honor to have you, Dr. Essie. So tell us what you do. Give us some meat.
How about that? I have a lot of meat. I probably would take an hour if I really told you all the things that I've been blessed to be involved in throughout my career. But I've spent 32 years and still in the field of education, from teacher to assistant principal to executive director to department chairperson, an instructor at 3 different colleges and universities. So I've done pre-K through 12. And currently, what I decided to do is to take all of the experience, knowledge, and the gifts God has given me and actually started my own educational consulting company, helping educators. I'm also an author, as you mentioned, and I've been involved in 13 different projects, one solo project. When I decided to retire from the state of North Carolina, I decided to put all of that experience in how I transform schools to make them from low performing to high performing into a book. And I share that with educators. I'm a podcaster, so you can hear me all day, every day, on many different platforms, a speaker, a coach, just giving back and really helping in any way that I can.
Absolutely. And you touched on education with our youth. I'm very passionate about that. So tell us a little bit about how you bring poor performing schools into high achievers.
It is a lot of work. I can tell you that. It can be a challenge. But when I led schools that were low performing, I would always tell the people that I led to make sure that you take these challenges and turn those into opportunities. And you can't do it alone as an administrator in a building. You have to have a good team. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to make sure that you assess what is already there. You're going to get the right people in the right places, and you're going to make sure they're passionate about education. They love their job. They go beyond the call of duty in order to serve. You're going to get the parents involved. You're going to look at all your monetary resources, all your budgets. I can recall one budget in one particular school. This was just one pot of money, a $2.6 million federal grant. So making sure that you utilize the resources in order to enhance every component within the school, looking at the curriculum, looking at teaching, looking at learning, looking at the instructional practices that go on day to day, community engagement and involvement, along with the parental involvement. So it is a whole school approach, whole school, whole child, whole educator, whole community approach. It takes everything in order to make sure that we're moving in the right direction in order for students to continue to excel and do well and succeed in school.
Absolutely. You hit it on the nose. It's a village. It takes a village to, we was kids, we had a village raising us. It wasn't just our parents.
You're exactly right.
So you are so right. And I think that philosophy, although this society has gotten away, everybody is me, and my. But at the end of the day, it's all of our responsibility to ensure that our children get a chance.
Yes.
So, empowered to win. Tell us what your motivation was.
So, I've been very blessed. I've worked really hard. And when I do speaking engagements, and every day I have an opportunity to impact the lives of students, especially high school students. I work with them on individual plans, and they're looking at post-secondary. What am I going to do after high school? I've had the college experience. I tell the kids I've been to 12 different colleges and universities, from Harvard University to Howard University. And so after you do that for so many years, you say to yourself, what is next? Okay, what leadership program am I going to be involved in next? You sort of deplete yourself. and you come to a place in your life where you get still and you're quiet and you pray and you meditate, you reflect. And I was at that place. I'm still at that place. And I just asked God to provide a provision for me. And he did. And it was in the name of this beautiful, wonderful sister, Minister Allison G. Daniels. And she just asked me. We really didn't have any connections whatsoever in the past. And evidently God laid it on her spirit to ask me to be the forward author. I gave her my yes because I wanted to be able to share. And I recall she asked me once again, would I be the forward author? I said yes. And she said, well, I'm going to call you. We're going to get together and talk about what it is going to be about. She gave me the title and I just started writing. I prayed and said, God, I want you to be able to use me, use my voice, use my writing so that I can put it together and capture all of the stories of the women so that we can bring inspiration and motivate women and inspire, and not just women, but anyone who picks up the book to read it, so that we can uplift and share. Because I always say that our stories are not meant for us to hold, but they are meant for us to tell them. They're meant to be told. And so it's all about really making a difference. And that is how I really got involved. And I recall her writing back and saying, wow, wow, wow. She didn't tell me anything about anybody's chapter. I just started writing. And I'm just grateful that God led me and guided me to the place that it all merged so nicely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Wow. Wow, that is such an honor. Allison is a definitely a beautiful soul. I can remember first speaking with her, and she's been on my platform several times. And you can't say no to her.
You cannot. And I know, let me go ahead and profess this. This will not be the last time that we work together. I already know that in my spirit. So get ready, the audacious Allison G. Daniels, because we will be collaborating and doing things in the future. And it's not because of my body, my flesh wanting to do it, but it's because of the Spirit of God taking me to a place that he wants me to be.
Absolutely. And in these interviews that we've done with all of these, all of you are anointed in your rights. And we at Ruth and I as hosts have definitely been fed. And we definitely appreciate that from not only yourself, but all of the other authors. And we're looking forward to more collaborations with you, and definitely following what you're doing and supporting what you're doing in the education realm.
Thank you, indeed.
So thank you so much for sharing, and we look forward to more.
Thank you for having me.
Wow. Did she not find some anointed women? I am like, oh my God. I just gotta breathe at this point.
Take a deep breath.
Yes, indeed. I mean, Lord. All right, Ruth. Last but not least, the woman of the hour.
Yes, the Reverend Allison G. Daniels, who is a best-selling author, who has written over 31 plus books. She's also featured in several anthologies, award-winning magazines, and conferences. Allison is a motivational speaker, licensed minister, book writing coach, and the host of the podcast, Authors Chat with Allison, and Motivational Mondays on Gospel Time Machine Radio. In addition, Allison is the visionary author of this book, Empowered to Win, which is in its 3rd edition, and she is the founder of AGD Publishing Company. Welcome, Reverend Daniels.
Yes, indeed, my dear. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Unmute yourself, sweetie. Let's give her a round of applause.
Thank you.
Hello. Oh my God. You done it again.
Yes. Look, nobody but God.
Mm.
Yes. Yes.
Wow. Whew.
Thank you so much for having me here. Wow, this is such an honor, and I'm glad to be back again.
We're so glad you're here. So,
Very welcome.
why a third edition?
Wow. So, when your life is lined up with God, and when God starts speaking to you, you have to be obedient to what God is saying to you in that season. And even though I kept saying to God, you know how you have that communication back and forth. And I said, God, I've already put out one. I've already put out two. I said, I think people are probably a little bit tired of Empowered to Win. And he said, no, I need you to put it out there because I have someone else that need to hear what the next group of young ladies are going to say. So when God says that to me and when God speaks to me, I have to be obedient. I have to stay focused in on what he's saying to me. And I say that because a lot of times we get distracted. And when you get distracted, you get caught off guard of not doing the assignment that he has placed on your life. And then you find yourself just moving around in different places. But I knew that God said, I need you to release volume 3. And so I said, okay, God, I'll put it out there, and I'll see how this, plays out because I trust you. And let me tell you, when I put the first one out in 2019, God gave me 5 people, 5 co-authors, grace. Then volume 2, he doubled that and he gave me 10, blessed me with 10 co-authors. In this book, God blessed me, and there's 15 authors in this book, including myself. So when God gives you an assignment and when God tells you this is the time, this is the season, all I can do is walk in it. And as I listen to each show, because I've been following all my co-authors, and when you said anointed, I mean, here I am. I have to, come behind them. And I'm like, wow, just the amazing stories. And to see that their faith and each one of them being empowered and to actually continue on, even though, like Ladrine said, gracefully broken, but I still had to carry on. It's just powerful when you read each and every story that I have read from volume to volume to volume, and to just see what God has done. I call myself blessed. I know they're blessed. They're saying they're blessed to be on the the book. I'm blessed to have them because I couldn't do it without them. So I thank God that they believed in me enough, trusted me enough to be able to get their story out. So I count it an honor.
Yes, and I know y'all gonna be like moving some souls because number one, it's an assignment from God, and when God is in it, there is nothing that's going to go wrong. It's only when we take possession.
Yes.
Yes. For sure. So we got some shout outs. I probably, Pamela, we got so caught up. She was like, yes, indeed, to Dr. McCoy. And yes, she's a great inspiration, Dr. Essie. What else? All right, woman of God, it's Allison, for sure. I am just honored, Allison. I am so glad that our paths crossed, and I know that each person that comes into our life, it's like we create a bond. Nobody that we've been touched has actually left. At some point, we're back together doing some other projects and things like that. So I really am glad that God brought you into our life and all of these anointed women, because I can't say nothing but anointed because that's what it is. And I'm telling you, after these interviews, I have been so fed, so motivated, so empowered by these ladies' words, because we all moving through this thing called life, and some days you're on top of the world, and other days the world is on top of you.
That is the truth.
And being able to talk to women that are I can't even there's not even a word to describe what I'm feeling right now because of the energy and the interaction that we've had with you and all of these authors. We cannot wait to get this book. I feel like this book is going to be a manual. Okay,
Yes.
when I'm starting to feel something, let me read. It's probably going to be sitting right there with the Bible.
Blessed.
And you need this. You need other people pouring out. You need other people telling their stories because everybody has one. Some is like, oh my God, how did you get through? It's just, and until we leave this earth, it's always going to be something.
Absolutely.
Yes, yes. I was just thinking as I, constantly listen to each one of the authors that sometimes we make faith look easy. And until we actually go through something and tell our story, people will never know the walk that we've walked and how we still stayed focused in on what God has given us or what God has. And I always say assignment because I just believe that we are all on an assignment and we all have a purpose. God has a purpose for our lives. And I say, if you're still here, God still has a purpose for your life. And we make faith look so easy, like we haven't gone through anything. I mean, when you see me smiling, you just think I haven't gone through anything. But today was one of those days, that I just had to push back, shut my computer down, just focus in and key in on God. And I put on my music. We have to learn how to get to a place where we can build ourselves back up so we can carry on and be empowered to empower someone else to do what God has called us to do, even in our season when things just don't line up or go our way. And so, and I kept thinking, one of the scriptures that I have, because I'm one of the writers too, and one of the scriptures that I have in there is Habakkuk 2:2, write the vision and make it plain. Sometimes we don't spend enough time sitting still to write down what God has said to us. We don't sit still long enough so that God can minister to us in our season of uncertainty, our season of not, knowing which way we want to go in life. When we take that time, when we're still enough to see what it is that God is saying to us, we'll see that God has been ordering our steps all along. Like I grew up in church. I've been writing for years. This is book 35. So I've been writing for years. I am a 14, this is my 14th being a co-author. And the 14th book is actually a documentary that will be coming out. So I've been writing and speaking and in church practically all my life, or really all my life. But to see how God orchestrated my life and to see how he lined it up, if I had stopped and gave in years ago, I wouldn't be at this place where God has me now. And so when I listen to the different writers, my different co-authors, if they had stopped along the way, we would have never been able to hear how they overcame, how they made it, empowered to win. They're empowered to win because they stayed in faith. They stayed in hope. They kept their hope up. They kept their faith up. They kept giving God the honor and the glory, even in the midst of it. And I say even in the midst of it because I just remember when I was in the hands of the enemy, and I know I done went way off somewhere. I just remember, you can't really tell a story or you can't really help someone else if you can't tell them that I've gone through something. and God delivered me, and God kept me. He kept my mind in perfect peace. He kept my heart in perfect peace. He didn't even allow me to hate the person that did something to me. He allowed me to forgive them. So until you are able to just, get close enough to God to be able to just forgive yourself. Forgive yourself. Not so much because, you didn't notice what happened or you should have known not to do that. There are things that happen to us that we will never be able to understand. But when we get the wisdom of God, the love of God, we'll be able to understand some things by and by. And I'm just thankful for the women that God has blessed me to have on each one of my books. You're talking about anointed until I, actually had a relationship with each one of them and spoke to each one of them. Like Dr. Essie, I was so nervous to send out inbox to her. And I kept saying, God, she doesn't know me. I don't know her other than I've watched her through Facebook. She's watched me through social media. But God kept saying, I want you to send it to her. Day 1 went by, day 2, day 3. I said, okay, God, I'm going to go ahead and send it. And I'll accept whatever Dr. Essie says, I'll receive it. But as long as I know that I did what God told me to do, I was going to be at peace with the decision. But when she came back and said yes, I just didn't even know what else to say. I was like, okay, God, now you're going to have to give me the words to do a follow-up so I can let her know. But I am very happy that she said yes. And like she said, she has not read not one story. But my God, when you read her forward, you would have thought she read every chapter. And that's what touched my heart, to know that she had an encounter with God to even be able to, just tell it the way she told it and to just capture everything. So when you read that, and then she has her story in the book too, but just that to read the forward, I said, I would love for you to write a chapter. She said yes. And I was like, you know what, God, I believe that's my season for yes. I'm going to keep on going. This is my season. So, and I believe that this is my co-author seasons, for yes. This is a new season, a new year, and it's time for us to be empowered and move to the next level.
Absolutely. And as long as these ladies with you, they can't be nothing but.
Yes.
That is a fact. We are so excited. We got Tamala. She is definitely on it tonight. Yes. Forgive yourself.
Self-forgiveness.
Yes, forgiveness is the big thing, that a lot of people have a struggle with.
Yes.
And we have to. None of us are perfect. We've all fallen short. No matter how hard we try to be, we're going to fall short.
Mm-hmm. Look, we've dropped the ball. We've missed the mark. We didn't dot our I's. We forgot to cross our T's. Stop it. Let it go. Move on. Ask God for forgiveness. Seek God and just move on. Yes. And allow God to heal you, because none of us are perfect. I mean, I think sometimes when I'm ministering to different people and they see me, they're like, well, Allison, have you gone through anything? Were you ever out there in the world? Yes, God saved me. He delivered me. I wasn't so bad, but I wasn't perfect. And I just like you had to give your life to Christ, I had to do the same thing. And so, and in doing that, I changed my mindset. So I don't think the way the world thinks. I don't see things the way the world see it. I don't speak the way the world speak, because I'm walking in what God has called me to do. And I'm focused in on what God has called me to do. One of my sisters gave me this word, and I constantly stick with it. laser focused. I'm laser focused.
Yes.
So I'm so focused that whatever God says for me to do, you can't distract me. Now, I'm not saying that I don't have my moments. I don't have my days, where I'm just kind of crying and trying to figure out, God, what do you want me to do? I have those days, but I quickly jump back in play. I quickly jump back into place, and I'm like, okay, God, here I am. If you can use anybody, you can use me, because you already know my story.
That is so huge. That is so huge what you said just now. And that's where people get it twisted.
Yes.
They think that God doesn't know what's been going on. They think that God does not know where they've been, who they've been with, what they've done, right, wrong, good, bad, and indifferent.
Yes.
But God knows, I'll refer to myself, he knows me better than I know myself. He's seen every moment of my life.
Yes.
And he has not held anything against me. And in hearing all of your authors, it has been such a splendid experience. And to know, and the one thing that I wanted to say to Ladrine and Pastor Val and to you, one thing that we know is that God is the God of all comfort. So even when we're in that moment and we're trying to forgive ourselves, never mind forgiving somebody else, we have to just know that he is there for us. And it doesn't take a long prayer. I always love the Nehemiah prayer. God help me. Put the right words in my mouth. Guide my step. I cannot guide not one step. So when we put ourselves in that place, God just enters in. He's so willing to do for us what we can't do for ourselves. And that's what I'm hearing all of you say. I'm hearing all of you say that God has done for you what you could not possibly have done for yourself. And part of it is when we humble ourselves. And sometimes God has to get us humble before he can work with us. I got some stories of my own, and I can look back and say, God had to humble me. And I had to remember those moments so I could see who God is and have that love of God. So that nowadays I am laser focused. I love that. I'm laser focused on my assignment. And it's a beautiful thing to know that God has given you work to do and then to become willing to do it even on the days when you don't want to.
Yes.
Yes.
You're still right there saying, come on, you can do this. Get on up. You can do this. Thank you so much, Allison, for being who you are and for bringing all of these wonderful, wonderful women together. I am eager to read your book.
Yes.
We can learn so much from other people. And when people have a spiritual background and they're looking at things from God's point of view, it makes such a difference in the reading.
It does.
So I just want to say thank you. I know I've been very quiet this evening. I've just been listening.
Yeah, we're going to bring all the authors in so that way we can add everybody in here and really get close and comfy. Let me just go down here and grab Pastor Valerie. And who am I missing? I'm missing.
That's it.
Dr. Essie. I have her. Dream. I guess I do have everybody.
Perfect square.
Yes. Wow. That's all I can say. I can't wait to read this book. Like I said, it's going to be sitting next to my Bible. And I'm going to go back and get volume 1 and 2. Because from what I've heard through this, all of the authors, and we've interviewed almost all of the authors. And I'm here to tell you, it has been just lifting, when I started like the first one, I was having one of those days. And after I interviewed those ladies, all that mess was gone. All of it was gone. So we need soldiers like you all to help us stay laser focused, because it's very easy when it's me, myself, and I sometimes to get caught up. And Lord knows it's easy to go to the left. It's
Yeah.
like the left just like, come on, come on.
Yeah.
So we always need to, that's why it's important to have a relationship with God so that you can stay on track
Mhm.
of your assignment.
Yeah.
And then sometimes it just looks like things may not be, stacking up, nothing's happening. You feel like you're doing all this work and you can't see anything. You just have to wait on the Lord. It's going to come when it's supposed to come and not until. It
Mhm.
ain't our story. It's his story in us, coming into us.
It's just,
And once we realize
yeah.
that we're not in charge
Yeah.
at all, then the road gets a whole lot easier.
Yeah. So often we get the message twisted. We think that what we're doing is all about us, and it's not. It's
No.
all about God and working out his purpose for his creation. We're just we're just here, and if we're willing, he will use us. And so people constantly think, you hear people talk and they do believe that somehow God is out there somewhere, they're here, God doesn't know what they're doing, and they can go on about their business, doing whatever they want to do. But it's not like that. And we ought to be able to see that. He gave us his creation to look at.
Hmm.
We can just look in creation and we can look at the trees. All of them have a purpose. There's not one tree out there that's trying to stand in somebody else's spot. And they do what they're supposed to do year in and year out. That's the same thing that God, I believe, is asking us to do, to get to really know him. Not what we think about him, but to know him. And like you've been saying, have that personal relationship so that he can work with us and together we accomplish his purpose. And
Yeah.
that's what I love about this particular book is that it talks about being empowered, not by your own strength, but by God's strength. That's where
Yes.
faith comes in, and faith is not, it's not a blind faith. It's a faith that you really know is real because you get to see God's hand working along with you, or really, you're really working along with God's hand.
Yes.
So I just really want to thank all of you. I just loved interviewing all of the authors, listening to the stories. Someone is going to be very, very blessed, to use that word, when they read these stories and
It's going to be lives changed for sure. It's going to be
see
lives
how
changed.
we can hear someone else's story and we hear our story coming out of somebody else's mouth. And then we have that moment of identification. It's like, oh, I'm not alone. I'm not the only one who's been through this. And
Hmm.
sometimes we really do sit around and think, I'm all by myself.
Yes.
There's nothing new under the sun. Nothing new under the sun. From Adam until now, there's nothing new under the sun.
Absolutely.
So just continue doing what you're doing. Each one of you has a gift. Each one of you has something that is really so amazing, that you're bringing into the world, and you didn't have to. You could have stayed quiet, except that you had that little cattle prod behind you going, I better get it done. And you're an inspiration to me and to many others to get it done. Because, like you were saying, many people have a story, and those stories are to help someone else. So you're a cattle prod for me. Get it done because it's part of my assignment while I'm here on earth. So thank you so very, very much.
So quickly, we're going to go around the room, and everybody is going to, you know, tell us how people can get in touch with you. So, Ludrine, you're up.
Absolutely. So people can reach me through my business page. It is Do It Delivers on Instagram and Ladrine Howard Peterson on Facebook. And then for the talk show, it's Let's Do It Talk Show on all platforms, IG, Facebook, and also our YouTube channel as well as webpage. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Dr. Essie?
Definitely, individuals can get in contact with me via my website. It is www.dressiespeaks.com. Also, my email address at mccoy, M-C-K-O-Y, at gmail.com. And then I'm on all social media platforms, and I do a podcast. So all those platforms, Spotify, iHeart, SoundCloud, listen to me, contact me, just email me. Thank you.
All righty now. Pastor Valerie?
I'm still in the process of building all of that fabulousness that my sisters are talking about right now. So they can reach me on Facebook, Valerie Howard Jones, and they can reach me via email at pastorvalministries@aol.com.
All righty now. And Reverend Allison.
I receive it. I receive it.
How do people get in touch with you?
They can go to my website at www.agdpublishing.com. That's www.agdpublishing.com, which are my initials, or they can find me on all social medias, Allison G. Daniels. That's Allison G. Daniels, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. I am a podcast host, so they'll be able to find me.
All righty now. So y'all have all of their information. Each one of these women are anointed in something different, but they're all about helping humanity. So please reach out. And thank you again, ladies, for all that you do and for blessing our stage this day. Thank you.
Thank you.
All righty. Oh, Lord, I lost my mouse here. Oh, I have to my mouse. Okay. Ruth, can you go ahead and end us? Because I lost my mouse. For some reason.